Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Tonight, Thursday night, and today is the fourth of the 12th, 2025. Very soon to be 2026. Can you believe that? You know, rolling on, rolling down the days, rolling down the months or so. Can you believe that we are now in 2025? Almost 2026. I want to thank those who are joining me on Instagram. Actually, let me go on Instagram and get Instagram starting. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and the full works. And thanks for those who are joining in, and thanks for those who are coming on. And I want to tell you that tonight, well, I always say that every Thursday night, there's always something breaking. There's always something new which is happening, and it's very interesting because one of the things that I looked at, and when I was thinking and looking at some of the news which is out there, the news which out there is talking about like representation. Let me just turn this down. Representation for persons like in the UK. Talk about the week in the United Kingdom. There's been nothing short of a wake-up call, where headlines weren't just headlines. There were questions about who we are, what we stand for, and who is really representing us. And that is something very strong. Who is really representing us? Who is really representing the people? I mean, there's a classic case of an MP who went into Parliament. People sent him to Parliament, and his job was to represent the people in Parliament. But guess what? The Prime Minister and the Whip say he's got to vote a particular way in line with certain things, and therefore he stood at the people of why he was there for, and guess what? Waboom. They suspended him. Yep, they suspended him and say you got to toe the line. So who sent the person to Parliament? Is he supposed to be speaking for the people? Well, that's a controversy. That's a thing about politics. MPs being suspended with their constituents, to a government wrestling with failing public trust, to communities still battling the rising cost of living following the budget, and the future holds. Britain feel like a country at a crossroad. People are totally peed off with Labour. I mean, Nigel Farage actually just came out today, and what Nigel Farage said the BBC need to apologize for their racist thing for many years ago with all these black faces and all those sort of things, because they're trying to say, are you racist of all those years, 49 years ago? Well, Nigel Farage said, hang on a second. Well, you BBC are racist because you're doing all these things many years ago. We know. So as Westminster argues, the people continue to struggle. While political parties throw words, families are fighting to stay afloat, and while leaders talk about unity, division seems louder than solutions. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm gonna kickstart the show, and I'm gonna bring in my number one guest who knows everything. Nothing I have to say. He will just speak everything that Sir Gary tonight. He's back from traveling the whole world like on a whistle stop, and he's back in the UK to really run things. You know what I'm trying to say? But let's get started. Sir Gary, how are you doing? I say you are the man who have been all over the world, traveling the world. You come with the answers, solutions for everything.
Well, I wouldn't say I've got the answers. I wouldn't say that I've got the solutions to things. But hey, it's great. It's great to be back with you guys again.
Yes, and your whistle stop. Your whistle stop. Well, it's good that you're back, because at least we can hear you clearly. We baffled. We were struggling to hear the last time, and we needed to hear the truth, and we couldn't get the truth. You know what I mean?
You know,
Yeah. But I want to thank
sometimes there are
sorry.
gremlins in there. Sometimes there are gremlins in the system that you really can't get rid of. So they come
Yeah,
every now
yeah,
and again.
yeah. Yeah, want to big up persons who are here tonight. Belinda, Melinda, um, big up to Ross, one, my virgin, and Cheryl, all those persons on TikTok, Instagram as well. Thank you so much for joining. And someone just said, big up to me for standing. I guess when he said standing, I thought I'm talking about standing in the elections here. I think that's a top news, I must say, guy. That's the most top news, if anything, isn't it? Standing for the mayoral, for Lewisham in 2026. Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best for that. Really,
Mm,
I think you are I think you're fit for the job.
mm.
You know, with
You
with
know,
with what with what the Jamaican government has put you through. I think you're well suited for it.
with what the government government show. Somebody wrote something, said, Bern, I'm only disappointed that it's not Jamaica that you're standing for, but I wish you all the best. I wanted you to come home and run in Jamaica, you know. you know. But one of the things, and it fits in so perfectly with a topic tonight about representation and about the weak Britain as who really represents us. Um, is one of the things that I get a lot out there. And persons, you can tell me this in the box, in the chat room, or whatever like that. What I'm getting a lot out there from people is that when they go into office, they don't they disappear. They're not around. The level of representation from political officials, elected officials, it's not coming through. That is something which resonates so very strongly. And I keep saying all the while, it should not be, you know. And I said, I'll make the change. And they say, Silburn, but I've heard that before. They said that they've heard that before, Gary. You know what I'm trying to say about representation. And then the MP, you must have heard about that MP who recently was suspended by Keir Starmer, by the Labour Party, because he dared to defy them, Gary. He dared to defy them in the whole inheritance tax and the stuff with the farmers. So
Yeah,
he
I mean that is
campaigned.
so wrong. That is
Yeah.
so wrong.
Mm, yeah. You know, it is Marcus Marcus Campbell. He campaigned on a particular ticket with his constituents. And when he went in there and he's ready to vote, he voted along the line. But there's a whip. The whip had said that you've got to vote a particular way with the government,
Yeah,
with Keir Starmer. And because he didn't vote in line with the government, but he voted in line with the people who sent him. And he got suspended for that, guy.
yeah.
Got suspended, you know? Um, so, so the MPs voted in favor of the government plan with 327 votes to 182, a majority of 145, you know. And last month,
Yeah.
4 Labour MPs, Neil Duncan, Chris Hincliffe, Brian Leishman, and Rachel Maskell had the whip restored after they had been suspended for repeatedly rebelling against the government. And when they say rebelling against the government, is that they're voting and operating in line with the people who put them inside their house. You know? And this was a very strong one in regards to the farmers. So what does it say? What does it say about why do you what isn't that the reason why you have so much voters apathy out there where people don't feel that it makes any sense for them to vote for anybody? Isn't that so? Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't you say that? Wouldn't you say that's one
I
of the
don't know what's
reasons?
going on with your prime minister, really. So
Which is my prime minister? Who's that? My prime minister? Who is that?
Starmer.
Yeah. Well, Well, Kemi is trying to get him out, and why she's trying to get him out is get at Rachel Reeves. If she can get at Rachel Reeves, then she can get at him, because normally you have the chancellor and the prime minister. They're always tools in a pot, like peas in a pot. Yeah, David Cameron, George Osborne, Kwasi Teng, Liz Truss, Boris Johnson, and Rishi Sunak, um, and it goes along the line. They're always peas in a pot, in a sense. And in light of the recent budget, which Kemi is still saying that it is it's Rachel Reeves lied, you know, or so, and she needs to resign, just like the head of the OBR, had resigned because of the leaking of the budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I,
so.
yeah.
Sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, I just think that the economy, the UK economy is, and some would say, it's tanking, or it's stalling. It's stalling, and I think we need someone who has experience, really, someone who they know how to keep the economy going.
Uh-huh. Uh, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, 'cause when you talk about MP suspension and crisis of representation, controversy around an MP being suspended for voting with consequence. What does it say about party discipline and real democracy? Party discipline, real democracy. It is something, public reaction, anger, confusion, and declining trust. And something which I always say all the while, and I think we were talking about Jamaica at one point, where we say, are MPs serving the people or the party? So I put that out there to persons out there. Do you think MPs are serving the people or the party? Let's drop that one also for people in Jamaica. Are MPs serving the people or the party? And Gary, I put that to you as well. Are MPs serving the people or the party? Elected officials. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if the MPs are serving the party. I mean, they're serving themselves. Now, if one MP is votes, you know, let's say he's voting um for conscience sake. He's voting because he sees that something is not right within one sector of the country, such
Yes.
as the farmers, and then he's reprimanded for that.
Yeah.
Now tell me, I mean, what's going on? Starmer
Mm.
is not the one that we should be. He is elected to run the country, to make sure things are running as it should. Right? He
Yeah.
is not the end all and be all. And I'm afraid that this guy, he's so pompous in his attitude, that he's ready to take the UK into war. All of these
Yeah.
countries in Europe, it looks like, is gearing for war. And this country, the citizens of the United Kingdom, does not want to go into war. They don't want war. And Putin is saying, listen, if you come for me, then we
I'm
are
ready for
ready for
you.
you. The
Yes.
signals.
Yes.
He's
I
seeing the
heard that.
signals. He's seeing what's going on.
Mm. I've heard that.
I
I've
mean,
heard that.
the country needs to make it quite clear to Keir Starmer that we don't want war. We don't want that. Our children don't want that,
Mm.
right? And if he can't do any better, then call an election, or get out of or move out of 10 Downing Street. Let
Yeah.
somebody else go in there that has a mind for the country.
It always makes you wonder that whenever they go like to these like the meeting with the coalition of the willing, to speak on the issues regarding uh what's his name, Ukraine and Zelensky, you always wonder, when they go there and they make those decisions, do they consult with their constituents? Do they consult along with the people. And normally one would say no. What they're doing is somewhat, you know, very pompous. Of course, these are policies or stuff which are stretched out. Like say, NATO. NATO is there as a protective factor. If you touch one, you touch all. But the ways I'm hearing now, they're ramping up certain terminologies and certain things. They're saying what is happening and how Russia is operating, it shouldn't be. And therefore, we've got to protect Ukraine. I heard some very fighting statements today in Parliament when they're talking about that Trump and Putin, they're in bed together, blah blah blah, in a figurative sense. And once a person said, but are we have the ability to match Putin? That's what somebody put out. Do we have the ability? And you wonder to a certain extent, I say, hang on a second, Gary. And we speak about this so many times. Why is this war continuing so long? Why are people dying unnecessarily, in the sense? And I put it to you to say, plot of lands. But at the end of the day, God owned the land. And I'm trying to say, stop fighting over lands and killing off people. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's a very interesting bit there. You know what I'm saying? But one can see, yeah, go on. Yeah. One can see the weakness anyhow of Starmer. Very weak leader. Yeah, and he's hiding within the cliques of his party. They say it's fair to meet the people. I mean, there are a few mayoral elections which have been postponed, which are planning to postpone as well, Gary, because based on the signs, reform is aiming to get those mayoral seats, as well, And when I listen to Kemi Badenoch, and I'll play something by Kemi if I can get it up. Kemi Badenoch just humiliated the prime minister, and Kemi is getting great in the box, I must say, without a doubt. I don't know if you're aware. I don't know if you have been seeing her, but she has been really fantastic in the box. Let me just play this here.
Speaker, and can I first of all pay tribute to Sir John Stanley, who passed away yesterday. Sir John was a dedicated MP for 41 years, and we send our deepest condolences to his family. Mr. Speaker, does the Prime Minister believe that when an organisation descends into total shambles, the person at the top should resign?
Mr. Speaker, can I first join in her comments in relation to Sir John, and I'm sure I speak for the whole House in that respect. Mr. Speaker, I was very proud to lead this party at the budget last week, where the Chancellor set out that we would protect the NHS, which we've done in the budget, create the conditions for economic stability, not repeating the mistake of austerity, and bearing down on the cost of living by taking £150 off energy bills. We're fixing the mess that they left, and I'm very proud to be doing so.
Mr. Speaker, he doesn't want to answer a question about taking responsibility because he likes to blame everyone else except himself, and so does the Chancellor. We now know that the head of the OBR was forced out for telling the truth, that the Chancellor did not need to raise taxes on working people. We also know that the Chancellor was briefing the media, twisting the facts, also she could break her promises and raise taxes. Mr. Speaker, if she was a CEO, she would have been fired, and she might even have been prosecuted for market abuse. That's why we've written to the Financial Conduct Authority. So will the Prime Minister ensure the Chancellor fully cooperates with any investigation?
Mr. Speaker, she's completely losing the plot. She clearly didn't read. May I pay tribute to Richard Hughes and his leadership of the OBR? He made very clear why he stepped down, and I've made very clear my support of the OBR. But she says take responsibility. Under this Chancellor, Mr. Speaker, growth is up this year, defeating and beating the forecast. Wages are up, more since the general election than in 10 years of the Tories. We've had, I think, 5 interest rate cuts. NHS waiting lists are down. We've had record investment into this country. We're turning the page on their austerity and reckless experiment on borrowing. I'd compare that record to them every day of the week.
When do you think there will not be the 14 years and the 20 billion black hole, which is even being questioned? And Gary, what do you think about that? When do you think? Because every opportunity, Keir Starmer get a chance. That's what he says.
Yeah, well, from the time they got into government, right? They've been talking about this 14 billion or 20 billion or whatever black hole. That's the only thing that they've spoken about. Yet they've done nothing. They have done nothing. If it's been there, they've done nothing to fill it. If anything, what they've done, they've made it worse. They've made it worse. Or they have created a black hole for themselves. So for them to be saying that they've come to correct the mistakes of the previous government, they're making it worse, because the amount of tax hikes and that they've had to introduce, it's just, it would have been better for them to have shut their mouth and get on with the job than to talk about what the previous government hasn't done, and yet they're still not doing anything, and they're having to increase taxes than when they said before the election that they would not increase taxes. The Labour government has always been a party to increase taxes. I've never known in my lifetime for a Labour government to ever have cut taxes.
Yeah.
And history, I'm quite sure still could dictate that a Labour government always either increases taxes or starts a tax.
I like what he said. Start a tax, because they started that tax for the 2 million for people with houses over 2 million. They started another type of counter tax, which is eventually is gonna increase. So they've started something. So the interesting thing about all of that is, and today I was walking in the park, and I speak to a lot of people, and I was speaking to a couple persons in the park, and they were just really annoyed and just said Labour really let them down. They are Labour voters, and they said they're just squeezing them. Or no, I would say successive governments at many times, any opportunities whereby they are able to get and raise money, it go back for the people, and they hit them and they hit them and they hit them as much as possible. Because when they hit the rich guys or they hit the companies or whatever, the companies put that money on their goods, on their services or whatever, and increase, and then it hit the consumers as much as possible. So therefore, it's a lose-lose situation, and that is why you have the likes of Farage and Reform, rising, because people are just getting peed off. People are getting fed up. People are talking about Kemi now. I mean, people are now looking at the Conservative in a way with all the history and 14 years and the 20 billion black hole or whatever like that. But they're saying, they should have listened to Rishi Sunak. And I think you have said that many times. Rishi Sunak is like a prophet now. When you look back and you can quote Rishi Sunak words, Rishi Sunak said, "This is what's going to happen. Mark my words, read my lips. Tax, 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 tax." And that's what is happening. That's why Kenny Badenoch is saying, sack Rachel Reeves, because these guys don't have any understanding of business. I was in my area introducing and meeting people on the road and in some shops, and just saying I'm standing for mayor. And one particular person said, "Well, it's nice meeting you, but guess what? As you can see, there's no business. The rates are so high. I'm closing down. I'm closing down in a few weeks from now." You know what I'm trying to say? Because people are feeling squeezed left, right, and center, Gary. They're feeling squeezed, and that is something which is happening. Unless you want to say something, I'm going to finish off with Kemi here. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go with Kemi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, ChatGPT, I am getting slammed with work emails today. Got
Sorry for
any
that break
free
there.
AI tools that can help?
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister talks about losing the plot. Let me read to him what his own cabinet members are saying, and I quote, "The handling of this budget has been a disaster from start to finish." Yes. Who said that? Was it him? Was it her? In fact, I think it was probably her, actually. It was probably the Chancellor. In fact, Mr. Speaker, one of his ministers said the Chancellor and Prime Minister look weak and incompetent. The country agrees. We know that there were endless Treasury briefings to justify raising taxes on hard-working people to pay for benefits. And those briefings had real-world consequences. Hundreds of thousands of people drew down their pension, an irreversible act. So the Prime Minister pays tribute to the head of the OBR. If the head of the OBR had to resign over market-sensitive leaks, why is the Chancellor still in her job?
Mr. Speaker, last year they left us with a £22 billion black hole. This year, at the beginning of the process, the OBR did a productivity review on their record in office, and that cost an additional £16 billion that we had to find in the budget. But notwithstanding that, Mr. Speaker, we protected the NHS, waiting times are coming down. Notwithstanding that, we've got cutting borrowing at the fastest rate in the G7. Notwithstanding that, we've got £150 off energy bills. That's added to rail bills and prescription as well.
Order. Mr. Holden, your voice carries more than mine. The difference is yours will be carrying outside, not in the chamber. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what she doesn't understand that picking up a £16 billion tab for their failure is not a good starting point for any budget. And the OBR said yesterday, Mr. Speaker, that the Chancellor's speech was not misleading. So if the Leader of the Opposition had any decency, she'd get up now and apologise.
You know, Gary. When I listen to I'm making a comparison, like with Jamaica, for argument's sake, in regards to the rhetorics towards leaders, and I keep saying to people in Jamaica, they said people are actually cussing off Andrew Holness. And I said to people, listen, if you really read some comments that people are actually talking about Keir Starmer, the only difference is that they don't cuss BC and they don't cuss RC, the Jamaican bad words, you know what I mean? Because people are actually cussing him off daylight, left, right, and center because of what he's doing. I mean, if you watch and read, some people call him some names, but guess what? You do not see the Prime Minister going after persons one by one and cussing them off or say something like that. In Jamaica, it's a bit different. The Prime Minister want to go toe on toe with people because of misinformation. Now, you can say if you listen to Parliament right there now, and the Prime Minister will get up and say, that is not true. She's twiddling her thumb. What is blah, blah, blah. That is what can be construed as misinformation. That is what can be construed as misinformation because the opposition is peddling maybe lies. And therefore, that is the same breath. So when, like for argument's sake, the Prime Minister of Jamaica is saying people are peddling lies, it's the same difference there in politics, Punch and Judy. But you do not go after people. If Keir Starmer ever pick out somebody and start to go after them and say, I'm going to, he's a bad man, I'm a mafia from East End or whatever like that. They shut him down, Gary. I don't know if you've been following what's going down in Jamaica regarding even this whole thing about social media, It's crazy, Gary. It's crazy, But let me finish off with Kemi. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker.
You might be enjoying a cup of tea with Mr. Holden if you carry on.
Mr. Speaker, no one believes a word that the Prime Minister says. We now know the black hole was fake, her book was fake, her CV was fake, even her chess claims are made up. She doesn't... She doesn't belong in the Treasury. She belongs in La La Land. They raised taxes on working people. That's £16 billion was to increase benefits to protect them from their backbenchers. He now boasts about removing the two-child benefit cap, but he used to say that it was unaffordable. He even removed the whip from 7 of them for wanting the same thing. He is very happy to throw them under a bus when it pleases him. So I asked the Prime Minister, how did it suddenly become affordable at the very time he needed to save his own skin?
Mr. Speaker, the vast majority of families we helped in the budget are in work. Yes. 3/4 of children in poverty are in working families. Their policy of nearly 10 years on the two-child benefit cap had one result and one result only. It dragged hundreds of thousands of children into poverty. They should be utterly ashamed of that. And I'm very proud that we're lifting 500,000 children out of poverty, because I profoundly believe that every child should have a chance in life. Every child should be able to go as far as their talent will take them. So that's why we're lifting 500,000 out of poverty. But they're the same old Tories, the party of child poverty.
If all of this is true, why did he take the whip away from the people who are asking for it? Let's remind the Chancellor, exactly a year ago today, on the 3rd of December 2024, the Chancellor said, we will never have to repeat a budget like this one. If only. He may have taken the whip away, but the rebels had the last laugh. The Prime Minister has lost. He can't run his own party. He can't, let alone the country, Mr. Speaker. Let me quote what the
I can't hear that. Still? I can't hear that. I don't hear anything, still going.
Okay. Okay, Gary. So what do you think about Kemi? What do you think? What's your perspective of Kemi Badenoch and how she's been faring? I mean, I've been seeing some great reviews about her. Reading some sites and people are warming up to her. She's really, I said it, after 21 days doing something, you become very good at it. What's your take on Kemi Badenoch?
Well, as I've said in the beginning, there is that she's done very well. Whether the Conservative Party will hold on to her in the coming elections that will come in the next probably 2-3 years is another thing. She may be very well. She may do very well as a debater, because you debate well, because you're able to think quickly on your feet and respond as you should. That doesn't always dictate that you'll be a very good leader, So, we'll just have to see how it fares amongst amongst her colleagues, how they feel about her.
Well,
If she'll be able to
uh,
present
yeah.
the country on the world stage.
I wanted to say just in that point what you said about being a good debater, because we can talk about some of the best debaters at the dispatch box. We've seen Margaret Thatcher; she was excellent at the dispatch box. We have seen David Cameron, excellent at the dispatch box. We have seen Tony Blair, excellent at the dispatch box. Boris Johnson, bumbling at the dispatch box. But Rishi Sunak also excellent at the dispatch box, Gary. And these persons all became prime ministers. You know what I'm trying to say? The 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 thing which may be, and you have said it, could be the snag for Kemi is because of the fact that she's black. Yes. And many people are saying that she's there doing the dirty work. Many people are saying she's there because there are certain policies that need to go through, and if a white person do it, then they'll say the person is racist, so they put a black face up there. But I think one of the things about Kemi, she tried not to do identity politics, and what she has stepped up and she's holding the prime minister to task. And we have to remember at the same time that leaders in these situations, they have advisors around them. I got to make good judgment. And she could have buckled already, Gary. She could have buckled already, but she stood her ground and kept saying she's not just going to let out policies just like that. She wanted to wait for a bit, learn a couple of things, and now she's coming out with policies. And you have seen whereby there's been a stagnation, like a plateau that reform has now. Reform has got to a sort of plateau where you're hearing in the background talks about reform is talking about wanting to do a pact with the conservative want to do a pact, because I believe that as time goes by leading up to the next election, reform is not going to be able to get it by itself. Conservative may not be able to get it by themselves. And if they don't form something, you could have Labour come right back in at the same time. But Labour is also now being split with Jeremy Corbyn and the new party, the Your Party, even though he's still having problems with that party there. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know. But she's I don't know. I think she's well clued up, and I think there is a strong possibility, and I said it before, I said it last week, that this lady could be prime minister.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that she couldn't be.
Yes.
I'm just saying, is the country again ready for a woman prime minister again, and it's a black woman, and even a conservative party.
Yes.
I'm not saying that she can't do it.
Yes.
I'm not saying at all that she cannot do it. I think anybody that has their wits about them could do it, but is the conservative party?
Yeah.
Is the conservative party again? Yeah. Again, she's a good debater. She thinks quickly on her feet. She's able to respond to Keir Starmer when he comes with his, in my mind, with his foolishness, and he thinks that everybody is stupid. I mean, people are not silly. People are much more clued up today than they were when Tony Blair came in. Much more. Yes. So he has to be careful that and again, the country is also a melting pot on boil. We've got multiple cultures here in this country that if he's not careful, if he doesn't really do what he needs to do, make the decisions, man. He's got people around him that he needs to let go. Not to make him look good. If he needs, the economy is one thing that seems to be really, going upside down, and he does nothing. He's not even indicating. He doesn't even think that he needs to do something. He needs to do something.
Yeah,
he does.
Well,
I would make reference here, even to another tax that they've started, which is the electric car. You know, how much is it they're supposed to pay per mile? Is it 17 pence per mile or
I'm
something
not
like
too
that?
sure. Yeah, but they're
Now,
squeezing people left, right, and center, Gar.
left, right, and center. Now he's doing that. Plus, I'll go back to another point we've discussed not too long ago, a few weeks ago, with his partner in crime, Sadiq Khan. Now the ULEZ is going up, the congestion charge is going up in London. Then all of a sudden they're bringing in this per mile that electric cars are supposed to. I mean, when is this going to stop? When is London going to say something?
I said to two English persons. I said to two English persons in the park today. I said, "You guys have lost your British bulldog spirit. You guys are just being just placid and just taking things on your back." You know what I mean? You know. Somebody just said a while ago, Gary, the Conservative Party had 3 women prime ministers already and 1 brown male prime minister. So I guess what that person is saying is that of all the parties, the Conservative is the one who is somehow paving the way and sensitizing things in a way to a certain extent. Labour Party cannot match that at all, if anything, at present. And the closest the Labour Party has got to it is having David Lammy as the Deputy Prime Minister, which is an appointed position, you know, as well. I believe that by everybody being positioned there, I think the UK is at a point whereby they just want people to be truthful, people to be representing, and people not to be fake. They can see through the fake, and that is one thing that the UK is talking about. Somebody said Britain has turned away from God. That's a big problem. There he goes, Gary. That's the answer. That's it. Britain has turned away from God. Yeah.
I think the whole world has turned away from God, really. You know, and that I think that could be part of, well, if not all, part of the solution. But I believe that this present government, it cannot always look back and say it's the fault of the previous government. Okay, fine. The Conservative Party has not always done things right, and probably the majority of their time they've done things wrong. Probably, they've been wrong. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that the Conservative Party is has never done anything wrong, or all their policies were right. No, I'm not gonna sit here and say that. But certainly, the Labour Party needs to own up and take some responsibility of what they are doing. You know, the country is crying out. The country is crying out. The pensioners are crying out. The NHS. I was watching something, was it yesterday or the day before? One of the news, I think it was either ITV or BBC, when they showed a graph. I can't remember the exact figures, but let me say probably it could have been 10 years ago. It could have been 10 or more years ago, where there were 58. I think the number was 58 people who were waiting for, I think, less than 4 hours or an hour, whatever, in A&E. Now it's up to 53,000. 53,000, and they're telling us that they're addressing the NHS.
Well, somebody just said a while ago, dropping off at Heathrow also is now going to be £7, 1st of January 2026, and dropping off at Heathrow. You know what I'm saying? So you just have,
A thought came to me is, and I wanted to say this to you while I was talking about 5 minutes ago. If the Londoners started to cry out and resisted Sadiq Khan and his
Policies, these
and his
taxes.
tactics, his policies, yes, right? If they started, I believe the rest of the country,
Nation.
the cities in this country, in this nation here,
Mm.
they would rethink. They would rethink.
Mm.
In my mind, I mean, Bristol, well, I'm sure Bristol charges. Leeds doesn't charge as yet, but I'm sure that they will. Manchester doesn't charge, but I think that they will. There are other cities who are thinking and rethinking their position on.
They're gearing up to they're gearing up to get it out of the people, isn't it? They're gearing up.
Yes, to start the congestion charge or whatever charge that they want to. If the Londoners resisted this, the other cities would reconsider.
Yeah.
And because Sadiq Khan seems to have his own way in that city, then all the other cities are following suit. And before long, nobody will be able to drive anywhere to some extent.
Yeah.
It's just terrible, man.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, yeah. I think you're right in a way. People need to stand up. Look at the congestion charge for argument's sake. People just accept it. They just accept it. It just blasé. People just accept these things, Gary. I'm saying, nobody stand up and demonstrate or blah blah. People are just placid. People are just burnt out. I think the COVID thing has seared people's minds. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I don't know if you heard that there's a increase in flu. Hospitals facing unprecedented flu season, say NHS bosses. Number of flu patients in hospital has hit a record high in England for this time of the year, with NH leaders warning the country is facing an unprecedented flu season. NHS figures show there were an average of 1,700 patients in hospital with flu last week. That is more than 50% higher than the same time last year. An early indication from this week are that hospitalizations have continued climbing sharply since. Comes as the flu season hit a month earlier than normal this year, with expert warning there appears to be a more severe strain of the virus circulating. And guess what? England Chief Medical Officer Sir Christopher Whitty has warned the NHS must take disease like pneumonia and flu in older people more seriously to save lives. What does that sound like, Gary? What does that sound like?
Lockdown.
Yep. Well. I mean, the recent the recent inquiry report that came out recently about lockdown say lockdown should have happened earlier, and lockdown should have been finished earlier as well. But the thing about it is that there's been some good practices. Well, no, not say good practices. They can identify good practices that should be absorbed or taken on board if there's another pandemic as well. And as I was speaking to Professor Van Tam, I met him at the Jamaica High Commission, and he said in his lifetime, I think he said only one or two he had virus, and he said more than likely there's going to be another one. But the thing about it is that we have learned, and the government is sort of warned. They've got these best practices now if it happens, because that is what they never had before. Best practices when it comes on to COVID as well. So that's a very interesting development, The other thing also, Gary, I don't know, one other thing which is very concerning, and I just touch on it briefly, is there's a buildup going on in Venezuela. There's this buildup going on around there where there's a possibility of overture or taking out the guy there, President, forget no, whatever his name is. and
Maduro.
Maduro, yeah. And there's a U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said did not give the orders to unalive them all during a controversial second U.S. military strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing about it is that I think they were questioning Trump and saying, is this war? And if it's war, don't you need to go to Congress for this to pass? And Trump's response was, it's not war. If they have drugs or whatever, we just get rid of them. Very blasé. And I think in the G20 or the G20, they had asked Andrew Holness, who is the head of CARICOM, his views and all those sort of things, and he gave us sort of political answers. So, but it's like America sort of the airspace around Venezuela. If I'm not mistaken, I can be corrected. I don't want to give it misinformation, but they have sort of closed that airspace around Venezuela. And what I sense is that that lady who won the Nobel Peace Prize, who dedicated it to Trump, she's in hiding in Venezuela. So I sense the indirect policy is going to be regime change in Venezuela, guys.
Well, Trump. I mean, Trump. I've heard it was.
Yeah.
I don't know where I read it, but Trump did suggest to Maduro that he would allow him to leave
Yes.
Venezuela to go to
Jamaica.
Abu Dhabi was Abu Dhabi or somewhere there he could go to live, because obviously Trump does want regime change there, even though he hasn't said it.
Yes.
But obviously with him sending the CIA in, because it is known publicly that the CIA is there. They're operating in Venezuela as we speak. And we know that whenever the CIA is involved in situations like that, it's for regime change.
Yeah, you're right. CIA is normally in infiltrating these places already. I just saw something. The revelation there were 2 strikes that raised new questions over the legality of the administration's deadly ongoing campaign against boats, due to what the rules of conflict say about targeting wounded combatants. President Trump has said he has no problem with video of the second strike being made public. Footage of the first strike has already been released. So it is a very interesting development which is happening over there in Venezuela. We'll watch to see how that unfolds. But in the final, let's touch on Jamaica. They're working hard on the hurricane relief thing. I think the only dampener or the sort of thing which left a sour taste in lots of people's mouth, especially those who have been contributing to the Jamaica Support Fund, that fund which is supportjamaica.gov.jm, is when the Prime Minister said they haven't touched that account yet. And he said they've been using the country's account for dealing with that. And many people are sort of concerned about, then if we were sending money so quick there and they need it, why that is not going there, But, one of the things I say, Gary, is, government is government and they're doing their things and they see the bigger picture. So, I don't know. I sort of give up on the whole thing now. When I say give up on the whole scrutinizing, people are saying they're moving slow. Some are saying the artists are moving faster or whatever like that, I don't know if you've seen anything about that, I see something like £20,000 has been raised for a concert. Where does that £20,000 go? Does it go into that kitty again? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of money is being raised. A lot of goods are being packed and sent, and which is all good. But again, the questions are asked. where are they going? Who is receiving these things?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions to say, well,
You don't
this.
you don't want to give misinformation. Make the prime minister say, me no afraid of nobody. They go toe to toe. Maybe come on and start challenge Gary.
Probably so. Probably so. I don't have the data, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to present anything that I don't have or don't know. But
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, with not only Jamaica, but there's been a lot of aid. There's been a lot of raising of relief over the many years in many countries. Where does the money go? Every year, money is raised for relief. Every year. And every year there is an increase of money raised. And where does that money go? Where does it really go? Is it really going to the places that it should? Are people's lives really being turned around? The amount of money or the amount of things that needs to be done in Jamaica and the amount of time that it's going to take for Jamaica to turn around. It's not going to be a 1 year thing. It's not going to be 1 year. And I doubt it was going to take 2 years. It may take, to me, it could take between 3 to 5 years. And
I heard, Go on, Gary.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years it's going to take. And my concern still is this, that in the 3 to 5 year period, hurricanes are still going to come. Because hurricanes has been the norm for the Caribbean for as long as time has.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen next year? What type of hurricane is going to happen next year? Is Melissa 2 going to come back?
Yeah. Because No, you're right about you're right about that. In light of that, because and so many things that I've heard, like about St. Elizabeth, for argument's sake, St. Elizabeth, lots of the houses, they are not like stable houses, strong houses. So, and lots of the people don't own these places. They're like squatter land. They said there are lease lands or so like that. So it's going to be a very mammoth task to rehouse people as well, which I'm getting to understand as well, Gary. So the government has a lot on their plate. I saw where they got a lot of money recently. They draw down some funds, and I think it's some sort of loan factor to help in the whole recovery, because this is, the country was moving in a very positive way, and then the hurricane has sort of set it back, So that's the whole thing. But they're just this. Michelle is saying hi. There's just this thing, Gary, in what sort of disturbing is about it. It's like the same issue about the money which is being pulled down for loans or for help organization. And I put a question to help with the relief, whatever. I put a question on Facebook. Is it a loan, or how will it be disseminated? And somebody came on and said, why you ask that question? Why don't you ask the minister person? Why don't you ask the minister privately? And I said, and I'm saying, this is what is happening. You got persons who are they're like keyboard monitors, Facebook monitors. They're like bullies. People are now watching people and then coming and trying to challenge them. I said to the brethren, behave yourself, man. Put some respect on my name. What do you mean asking me that question about why can't I ask the minister? Why am I supposed to go into some private conversation with the minister? The reason why I ask it is for it to be exposed, so let people know what it is about. So that is something which is happening right now in Jamaica, whereby there's a war of words. People are being scared of asking questions because of a certain backlash which is happening. Backlash because when the prime minister says he's going to go at war with misinformation, just like what we were listening a while ago with the prime minister Starmer and Kemi Badenoch, and he was actually saying what he said. I think she's in. I think Kemi said they're in La La Land, and the prime minister is saying it's not true about the OBR. They actually had approved certain things. Now, if you're listening it to a certain extent, one would say somebody's speaking fake news. You know what I'm trying to say? And therefore, what it does, it sort of put a dampener on people wanting to speak and wanting to share. So can you imagine if Starmer was a bit like the Prime Minister of Jamaica and say, "We don't want no fake news," blah blah blah, hey, and get angry. You know what I'm trying to say? That's not really good, and that's not really nice in a way. And that is something which I believe is happening in Jamaica now. That's why I said to certain persons, stop responding to everything the Prime Minister say. Just ignore him, if anything. And PNP and JLP, stop responding to each other, because what it does, it gives fuel to a particular fire, which is not necessary. And then everybody get mad and everybody get heated, and it's just ridiculous. It's just like with Trump. The best way to deal with Trump is don't respond to Trump. Don't that's what you do with people like that. You know what I'm saying? So those are things which are happening, and it's not really helpful in Jamaica, and they put a nasty taste in their mouth, unfortunately. Yeah, as well. So, did you get more followers on TikTok now, Gary?
I will let you answer that for yourself, too.
Yeah. But anyway, so when you're coming down London to campaign with me, walk on the street and.
Well, I'm just thinking that when you're elected, I very much like to be in the same hall as yourself to hear you repeat your oath of allegiance
to Jamaica,
to
Lewisham, to the people.
Yeah.
I
would be proud of you if you did that. I would be proud if you won. I'm proud of you now, but I think it would be
I was about to say that. So aren't you proud of me now? That's what I was going to say. I'm trying to say.
I think you've done enough work for the black people, not only for blacks but for whites, also for the Asians, for those that are there. But I think that you would. I think you do well. I mean, politics is not easy. I wouldn't say that you'd have an easy ride. You'll get some dissenters amongst you or with you, and they want to throw the negative at you. But I believe that you've got what it takes to not let these things bother you. And I think that Lewisham, at least London, Lewisham has had enough black Afro-Caribbean individuals living in it, contributing in it, for one now to be able to stand and say that, one of them is now representing Lewisham as
I tell you what is very interesting though, and I say this because of course indirectly I'm campaigning at the same time, and hopefully people from Lewisham may come on this. I got a couple of persons in Jamaica, which is really good. People in Jamaica who has actually contacted people in Lewisham to sort of say, "Hey, my friend," and they contacted me and checking me out, and say, "Wow, I got your number, blah blah blah." So which is really good. And I was at a restaurant the other day, and I know the owner, and I said to him, he said he has never voted before, but he's going to vote for me. And what he said is, for the young people. And I said to him, I tell you what you do. Organize in your restaurant a day that I can come and speak to some young people. And I've been saying that. I've said it to some Asian guys in some butchers. Organize with your people. I come and listen to you. I said to some Sri Lankan as well. Organize it with your people so I can come and listen to you. Somebody says sound gone on TikTok. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Sound gone on TikTok. Sound is back now on TikTok. Yes. Thank you so much for telling me that. Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the key thing is to listen to what the people saying, because one of the things that I'm getting a lot, people are saying that whether or not they vote for people, they believe that it makes no difference. Makes no difference. And I keep saying what I understand the mayoral position is a position whereby they are your voice, they got a strategic lead, and therefore they are supposed to be the voice for the people. And the people should somehow feel like they are represented in some respect. A lot of people are feeling they're not represented, as members of parliament are not doing the job. Government is not doing the job. Labour Party came in on a mantra, on a vision, on a drive, and people went for that, but that's not working as well. So we got to make a change. We got to make a difference. So I said, vote for Silburn, and we make it happen. Boom. All right.
Yeah, I'd really like for the church, I'd really like for the Christian community to get behind Silburn. You know,
Yes.
I think it's about time. I think it's about time that the church, the Christian church, to get behind somebody like yourself.
Yes.
That can, because you have to represent all sections of the community. You have to.
Yes.
You know, not only business, but you know, I mean, a lot of people look towards the businessmen, the financiers, you know, and such, that you know, to think that they're the only ones that can represent the community. No, no. I think the African church, the Caribbean church, the English church, you know, the indigenous church, you know, they've got someone that can represent them.
Yes.
And which is I believe is Silburn Sidiel of this of the Sidiel TV show.
Straight out of Oche. Straight out of Oche.
Straight out of Oche. You know, so I think yeah. I think it's about time. Yeah, Silburn for Lucian. I think it's about time that we get someone who has value, Christian value.
Yes.
You know, Christian value. We've got a lot of other values out there. But we need someone, I believe, that will represent our value. You know, our value. And I mean, I can vouch for this CDL family. I can vouch for them. I can vouch for them. There's some families that you can't vouch for, you know.
Yes.
There's some people that come up in society and get into high office, and we don't know them. You know, we just don't know where they're coming from. But I think that if we begin now to support, we've got to support each other still. We have to support one another.
Yes. Yeah,
you know,
most definitely. And you always talk about having a voice and so like that. And you know, we just have to believe God and just humble ourselves and place yourself in the people's way, so the people can actually see you as a conduit. Even I got people from the States coming over, even Michelle coming over to vote for me. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Can she do that? Something tell me that she's a Jamaican. I remember Jamaican Virgin M said, Sid, we'll come vote. Oh, you're gonna do it. Don't worry, man. We do it, man. We do it. Jamaican Virgin. Yeah. Anyway, Gary, listen, have a good night. I'm going on TikTok for just maybe half an hour, 20 minutes or so. I don't know, maybe I'm tired. I see go. I tell you, so you need to get 2 more followers. Actually, you don't need much followers on TikTok now. TikTok has revised itself. You don't need 1,000 as before, you know, as well.
Well, I mean, let me say this before seriously before you close out though, that in the scriptures, in the scriptures, people, there were times and there were prophets, there were men of God such as Daniel, Jeremiah, Nehemiah, people like Ezra, who were men of God, but they worked in the king's palace. Or let us put it in, phrase it in our terms here. There were people who were involved in the political area of, in the world politics that they knew. Daniel was one of 3 presidents, and he was preferred.
Yes.
Above all the presidents that I believe it was Cyrus. I think it was Cyrus or Nebuchadnezzar that had him there. So I believe that Christians should become involved in the political scene, in the political area. We all know that politics is dirty. We know that, but that doesn't mean that we have to become embroiled. You got
to dirty up yourself.
You don't need to. I mean, when you see it, you just point it out. You just be as honest as you can to say, well, listen, that's not me. That's not mine. That's not for me.
I always say that's not my portion. If anything, that's not my portion or something like that.
You should be able to say that's wrong. And we know that people don't really like to be, connected or whatever. But I just think that now is the time, just like in any other time, but no time like the present. That if there are Christians in the community who wants to become involved, become involved. Make the statement, man. Make the statement. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And just the Lord will help. I believe that God will help us to do what we need to do. I mean, we've got ministers who are making statements in their churches. Yes, they're making statements in their messages. Yes, but that's not the only place that we can. Make the statements that needs to be made.
So therefore, what you're saying again at the same time is to ensure that the Lord order your steps.
Oh yes. Yeah. But I mean, make sure that that you do the right thing. We need to make sure that we do the right, that we say the right, and point out the wrong. That's what we need to do. Point out the wrong. And don't be ashamed because listen, in pointing out the wrong, there are many who will dislike you. There are many who will come after you. Sure they will. They want to destroy you and destroy the good work that you will do. But if God has placed you there, if God has meant that you ought to be there, then there is nothing that any man can do to remove you.
True.
So we just need to be strong. We just need to be strong and be focused on what needs to be done, because we do need men and women to represent, first of all, God, the people, and then themselves. In more ways than one, sometimes we got people out there that represents themselves, the people, and then God. And when they're representing themselves, they don't get any much further than that, because all they're there is to promote themselves. But now is the time, I believe. Speak righteousness. We need to speak righteousness in this very difficult and dark times. Very dark. very dark and very difficult. But I
And you're
believe
right.
that
Yeah,
if
yeah, you're right. People are looking for
us,
hope at the same time. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
All right. All right, Gary. Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you for the words, powerful words. And we'll see you in the chamber in Lewisham next year.
well, make sure I get my invite. And I want to ride in the gold carriage with you.
All right. Well, have a good night. Have a good night, Gary, and take
All
care of
right,
yourself.
then, my friend.
My
God
regards
bless.
to the wife,
Take.
to Donald. Yeah. All right. All right. Cheers. Thank you.
I will.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining tonight, and I want to say good night and thank you for being here and listen to the different discussions that we have had. And of course, I'm going to pop over onto the land of TikTok in a few moments as well. Not going to stay there long. And so, Gary, peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night and thank you. Bye bye.